In this episode of The Big Story, a massive shift has taken place and the political heat is rising in the constituency of St. Cather Northwest, which covers Linstead, Yorton and Loydesville. The PNP has sent an aspiring Prime Minister there, Crawford.
Of course, you're a little bit nervous, entering into a new space, into a new era of your life. And even Usain Bolt going into an Olympic final will feel some level of nerves. But generally, I'm excited and elated about the reception and the probabilities of how we will represent this constituency.
The PNP member that Crawford is replacing, Hugh Graham, is being told to go silently.
To be honest with you, I was one of those last of the group that didn't want him to be MP, because I knew he was not going to do well here because of his own personality and all of that. And he has not disappointed me because he has not done well. So I'm happy that he has kept quiet and he's going to just bow out gracefully.
And Graham is defending his performance as Member of Parliament amid claims that he has not been doing a good job.
I don't know if there's another MP that could perform comparable with me.
Now that he has been replaced as a PNP candidate, will Graham switch from the PNP to the JLP?
Everything is possible. When I'm making a decision, I don't leave anything out of the decision.
Graham's replacement, Crawford, says he does not have a problem working with Graham to win the seat for the PNP.
The current Member of Parliament, Graham, remains the Member of Parliament and will continue to be the Member of Parliament until an election is called. I believe that he loves the place and he has a lot to offer, and I hope that we will be able to work together to carry great improvement into the constituency and keep it in the column of the People's National Party.
But is Graham willing to work with Crawford, who is replacing him as PNP candidate?
So I'm confining my conversation to me. Because that is what I have jurisdiction and authority over.
Yeah. And that's the reason I asked if you're supporting his candidacy.
And, sir, I think I answer you. And the only thing I'm going to do is answer you in a different way. I am still a Member of Parliament.
Crawford will need all the help he can get when the general election is called if he's to defeat Newton Amos of the JLP. Based on the numbers, Amos is no walkover and he's talking tough.
So what is this thing about Mr. Crawford and his popularity? This is not a popularity contest. This is about people and people's lives. Most people say that he plays lip service. He's comical. He is seen as a stand-up comic.
We encourage you to subscribe to our channel right now and stay with us as we go beyond the sound bites and the headlines on this, The Big Story. Crawford of the People's National Party has been one of the most popular persons in Jamaican politics, but he has a big problem. That is staying in a seat and winning it on more than one occasion. The third and latest constituency where the PNP has placed him is St. Cather Northwestern, which covers 4 parish council divisions, Linstead, Yorton, Loydesville and Treadwes, all being held by the PNP. Crawford is elated that his party's executive on October 2, 2023 ratified his candidacy, or, in other words, gave him the go-ahead to run in the seat.
I have taken the news with great excitement. It's a place that I believe matches my opinions of the world and what should be done as a Member of Parliament. They believe in education, they believe in work, they believe in farming, and so I'm looking forward to represent. Of course, you're a little bit nervous, entering into a new space, into a new era of your life. And even Usain Bolt going into an Olympic final will feel some level of nerves. But generally, I'm excited and elated about the reception and the probabilities of how we will represent this constituency.
Crawford has been touring sections of the constituency, such as Pennington and Wandibola's districts, which have some of the worst roads on the island. He has promised to consult with the people to find out their needs, but even before doing so, he's promising special focus on education and certification.
We want 1 degree per household. That has always been my core belief, if we can get 1 degree per household. And that includes level 5 at heart, that includes UTech, UE, Teachers College. It's not only for those who want to be a lawyer or a doctor. but to get the ultimate experience and the ultimate exposure into the knowledge sector so that we know what to do and how to do it. That is my core and my flagship. I will then be going around to learn and understand from the people what do they want to see in general as it relates to youth engagement, as it relates to heart, as it relates to farming, as it relates to infrastructure. I will learn that from interacting with them, and therefore I'm happy that I've been given a run-up to the election that is not within the campaign time but in the learning time, so I can understand more.
Crawford, as indicated before, is no newcomer to representational politics. He first ran in the St. Andrew East rural constituency, where he secured victory and served as Member of Parliament for one term. He fell out of favour with some PNP supporters who sent him packing in an internal election. His journey subsequently took him to the Portland Eastern constituency, where he unsuccessfully represented the PNP in a by-election in 2019. Crawford eventually left that constituency. Now that he is in St. Catherine Northwestern, the PNP bigwigs here, mainly the councillors, have thrown their support behind him. They declared their support during a recent PNP workers' meeting at Dintil Technical High School in Linstead.
Since Comrade Damian Crawford has been and will be our next Member of Parliament, I am okay. I'm satisfied and I'm happy and I'm glad. And I'm pledging to give him 100%. 100% in order for him to become next Member of Parliament for Northwest St. Catherine.
On behalf of the Yorkton Division, I'd like to welcome Comrade Damian Crawford as the new MP candidate for Northwest St. Catherine. I am confident that Comrade Damian Crawford will meet and probably surpass our expectations. We have listened to him over the years, and he speaks to our own objectives as a constituency. He has the same aims and goals, and I believe that he will be welcomed and the people will work with him.
I am more than happy that we would have put this meeting together, and you saw the overwhelming support of the workers for Comrade Damian Crawford. And of course it was not a presentation meeting, but you could almost dub it a presentation of our MP to be Comrade Damian Crawford.
It's important that Crawford has his councillors and councillor candidates on board, but he will need much more support to win the constituency in the next general election. His main challenger is expected to come from the Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, whose candidate in the last two general elections was retired police officer Newton Amos. Amos told the Beacon that he respects Crawford as a Jamaican, but not as a leader. He further stated that he is not fazed by Crawford's purported popularity and gift of gab.
What is it that I should be concerned about Mr. Damian Crawford coming to St. Catherine Northwestern? None whatsoever. He hasn't come with a reputation as a good representative, and the history book will remind us. He was a Member of Parliament for a constituency where he was subsequently rejected. He was banded on more than 2 occasions. His name was called among Mr. Price to come into St. Catherine Northwest before. There was some juggling taking place between those three. He ended up over in Portland, East Portland, and he was rejected there, despite his lightness on his lips. Most people say that he plays lip service. He's comical. He's seen as a stand-up comic. He speaks well. He plays his words together. The Member of Parliament for East Portland, it is well known now that she had a jargon that she said, beautiful words can go supermarket or something of the kind. It is going to be between himself and I, if I am asked to continue to represent the JLP in that constituency, whether Mr. Crawford is capable of doing anything tangible and meaningful to change the lot of the people of St. Catherine Northwest 3rd. History would suggest that he's incapable of doing that. We don't want a lyricist inside Northwest St. Catherine. There's work to be done. And Mr. Pickersgill and Mr. Graham, two of his predecessors, have failed. The worst roads are in Northwest St. Catherine.
Though Amos has never won the traditionally safe PNP seat, he managed to transform it into a marginal one. In other words, he cut the PNP's margin of victory in the constituency from more than 3,000 votes down to 148.
I became a member of the JLP late 2015. That is after I retired from the police force in 2016. There was a general election in 2016, which I was asked just less than 7 to 8 months to participate in. My opponent at the time was the former member of parliament, former chairman for life of the People's National Party, former member, cabinet minister for life in the People's National Party, who was that seat were being won by him with a majority of over just under 4,000 votes. My first attempt, I cut that by 1/2. First attempt, without any kind of support from my party in any real way other than the support from the Prime Minister and the leader of the JLP, who came into the constituency and traveled around with me for 3 days. I had no other help. Between 2016 and 2020, people may say that I have lost 2 elections, but who else have my history? Most of the other people who have lost 2-3 elections is over a period of 15 to 20 years because elections are called every 5 years. I had 2 general elections in less than 5 years. And look at what the history and what are the facts. What are the facts? So I cut his majority in 2016 by half. And within 3 years, Mr. Graham, who succeeded Mr. Pickersgill and who is known as a moneyed person, we end up in a magisterial recount. So why would it be that within 4 years I could have cut a safe PNP seat, ended up within 4 years with a magisterial recount? It speaks volume to even those who wishes not to accept of the quality of my representation, despite the fact that I have not been victorious in those 2 elections.
The PNP sent Crawford to St. Catherine Northwest as a replacement for businessman Hugh Graham, who won the seat for the party in the 2020 general election. After narrowly winning, Graham was opposed by some constituents, mainly members of his own party, who wanted to see his back. His most vocal critic arguably is Garrix, who, as said before, is a PNP member and councillor for the Linstead division. Garrix, in an interview with the Beacon during his divisional conference on June 25 this year, vowed to challenge Graham so as to replace him as the PNP's candidate in the constituency.
It's not something that I personally just want to become MP about him. But it is my personal feeling and view that if a present member of parliament runs back, he's going to lose the seat. And I personally know that if I run, I can win the seat.
Garrix eventually scrapped his plans and instead threw his support behind Crawford. After all, his main objective was to get rid of Graham, whom he accused of not doing a good job as the people's representative.
Everywhere I go, you hear people saying they're not going to vote for him again because they're not seeing him, and among many other things. Everywhere I go in the constituency. And you heard, I don't know if you were in the private session earlier, you heard the people saying it too. And it's not just a Linstead thing, you know. It's a constituency thing.
Since the political turmoil he faces recently hit the press, the outgoing PNP candidate, Graham, has not been seen at his party's events in the constituency. His predecessor and political mentor, Robert Pickersgill, braved illness and showed up at one of the meetings hosted recently in Linstead by the PNP's new candidate, Crawford. Graham was not there, and his critic, Gary Hicks, wants him to remain out of sight and silent.
To be honest with you, I was one of those last of the group that didn't want him to be MP, because I knew he was not going to do well here because of his own personality and all of that. And he has not disappointed me because he has not done well. So I'm happy that he has kept quiet and he's going to just bow out gracefully.
Graham, in a phone interview with the Beacon, denied claims made by Gary Hicks that he is a poor performer.
Gary Hicks doesn't have the qualification to judge my performance. So I wouldn't countenance that comment. Mm-hmm. So for people to comment on my life, it would have to be people who are my equals or above me. Right? So that's how I would say. That's my comment about that comment. Yeah.
So how would you describe your performance?
If you can't do calculus, right, and you're barely adding one-on-one, you can't tell me that my calculus is wrong. So you don't know. So you're not able to comment. You're only commenting because you have a mouth, but not because you can test the quality of my work. So if I were to ask him, what is it that I did not do, or what is it that I should have done, then you can tell me what is that. So I would not. I have my parliamentary presentation. I have the presentation on my constituency. So clearly he either hasn't read it or he's unable to read it. It is documented. So why didn't you challenge it when I went into Parliament and speak? So that's hogwash. That's bullshit. You know, that's idiocy. So I wouldn't waste my time on that comment.
Yeah. So outside of Garrick's, though, how would you describe your performance?
Absolutely. I don't know if there's another MP that could perform comparable with me.
Graham said he has done well, especially in the areas of education, road rehabilitation, and water infrastructure.
Infrastructure, yes. Infrastructure.
Yes.
Right? Because if people don't have water and them don't have road, you hear taxi on a black road about road conditions anymore. That was regular. Can we tell them, say, we now come on no black road. We tell them, my Lamborghini have to drive on good road, so I fix the road that everybody can have good road. Everybody deserves water. And what I'm saying is documented.
Now that Graham has been replaced as PNP candidate in St. Catherine Northwest, he is pondering his next political move.
There was a bit of rumor at one point that you may switch to the JLP. Do you have that in mind?
Everything is possible under the sun. That's biblical too.
Has it crossed your mind?
Everything is possible. When I'm making a decision, I don't leave anything out of the decision. Because then what would be the point of the decision? And as I repeat, I am where I am, and this is where I am.
And you are still a member of the PNP?
As far as I know, up to before you called me.
Graham's next move, after all, is a personal one for him to make. Crawford would have no problem working with him so that the PNP can retain the St. Catherine Northwest seat.
The current Member of Parliament, Graham, remains the Member of Parliament and will continue to be the Member of Parliament until an election is called. I believe that he loves the place and he has a lot to offer, and I hope that we will be able to work together to carry great improvement into the constituency and keep it in the column of the People's National Party.
Up to this point, it is still not clear if Graham wanted to remain the PNP candidate in the seat or if he was consulted regarding his replacement. When the Beacon asked him about that, he declined to give a clear answer.
My response to that is, at this point, I'm still an MP, and I have not decided what my next move is going to be. So I don't know how else to answer that question. I resigned as the councillor for Lower Day officially, and I resigned as a spokesperson for commerce, science, and technology. And I think that's public knowledge.
And in terms of chairmanship of the constituency?
I haven't resigned as chairman of the constituency, nor as MP. I think that's also public knowledge.
And do you intend to remain or you intend to resign?
As I said before, right now, there's a biblically, some of us don't know the Bible very well, but there's a part in the Bible that says you must be still and hold your peace. If it's a soca, if it was a soca song, it would say, drink your water and mind your own business. That's where I'm at this point.
But the PNP clearly has given Damian Crawford the go-ahead to represent the constituency, to represent the party in the constituency in the next election. Is that something that you support?
I can't speak to the PNP, and I don't know what is the PNP and who is the PNP. What I can do is speak to me and what I do and what my intentions are, and which is what I'm speaking to. So I'm confining my conversation to me. Because that is what I have jurisdiction and authority over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the reason I asked if you're supporting his candidacy.
And, sir, I think I answer you. And the only thing I'm going to do is answer you in a different way. I am still a member of parliament. I am still the chairman of the constituency. When the school need a chairman and they need a recommendation or the ministry, it's me them right to. Yeah? So it's still the member of parliament. As I say, at this point, what you're asking is what my intentions are. I can't speak to what my tomorrow is, and I don't want to tell any lie, because then I'll be quoted to say, but you said so-and-so, why are you doing so-and-so? So I am saying to you, I am not projecting, I am not in a position to project what my future looks like. I'm saying I know what I'm doing now, and I'm speaking to the present.
Mm-hmm. And Crawford said he'll be willing to work with you, as he tries to win the seat in the next election. Would you be willing to work with him?
Again, how do I say that? Because now you're asking me to project. And I'm saying to you, I am where I am, and this is where I am. And that is what I'm willing to say at this point. But not going no further than right here. So, right? At some other point, when I'm at that point in my mind as to what is the decision that I am going to take or what the next step, then I'll be prepared to talk about it.
What seems to be clear is that the JLP's likely candidate in the seat, Amos, is planning to capitalize on any fallout regarding the PNP local representatives, especially Crawford, Graham, and even political retiree Robert Pickersgill.
I have nothing to worry about with Mr. Crawford. In fact, I welcome Mr. Crawford to Northwest St. Catherine so we can have the debates. Let him come there and speak on his performances. Let him come and talk about, and I don't want to hear, as important as it were, about school programs that he teaches, whatever he said he teaches. As important as that is not what we want to hear over in Northwest St. Catherine. We want to hear about the issues that confront majority of the poor people in this constituency. And why is it? First of all, the first thing he must come to tell us, why is it that his colleague and member of parliament, Mr. Graham, have abandoned and abdicated his responsibility and function as a member of parliament? He refuses to attend parliament and to represent the people of Northwest St. Catherine. Mr. Crawford must come to tell me first before he starts with his lyrics and his sweet talk about how is it that he is not in a position, since he's so popular in his party. Why is it that he has no influence to speak to Mr. Graham to carry out his task? Why has Mr. Graham been in the constituency doing the work that he's elected to do? Mr. Crawford will have to start from there. We don't want to hear any sweet talk. Anybody can talk.
On the behalf of videographer Dean Alcott, I'm Horace Mills reporting from Linstead in St. Catherine for the Jamaica Beacon.